make a deal with you about giving the evidence in court?
There was many time deals.
Were you threatened in any way? Did they say that they might throw you in a cell with some of the people that you informed on if you didn't cooperate?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What did they say?
Well, they said it's a big court and big publicity. So if you not talk what we say, what was written in a statement, we will throw you with your mates, and you know, they say job will be finished.
Verkes disowned the evidence he gave in court that he had named the Kokatovic brothers and Mili Nekic as members of the conspiracy. As to the guilt of all of them, he said he did not know what evidence the police held against the men. In turn, the 6 men he helped convict have always insisted they were innocent.
I never discussed with anybody doing such a things, blowing up water line supply and using the terrorist activities here in Sydney. I never thought even, never discussed with anybody these sorts of activities.
Had you never conspired with other people, with Croatian nationalists, to even discuss the proposition of blowing up certain targets?
Absolutely not.
You'd never had such discussions with Vico Verkes?
No.
Or those other men?
Absolutely not.
So there was never even any talk, any boasting?
There were no talks, there were no activity except distribution of the leaflets, demonstrations, newspapers and books.
So let me get this clear. 6 men, the 2 Kokatovic brothers, Bebic, Viritic, Nekic, Brajkovic, you gave evidence against them. In your view, were they all guilty?
No. I don't know, is there any guilty? Might be guilty possession explosives and learning these things, but
were they all guilty of a conspiracy to blow up all of those targets?
No.
Could it be that they were all innocent?
There could be.
As we left, Vic was boasting about leading an army of 1,000 Serbs against the hated Croats. And I puzzled about how it could have been that the Australian jury was never allowed to learn that a main player in the Croatian bombing conspiracy was actually a Serbian nationalist. I wondered how it could have been that Australian courts would listen so intently to a man with a known psychiatric record. And I had to concede that Vitomir Masimovic's story may well be as unreliable now as it was 11 years ago. There is no argument that police did recover a large cache of gelignite, first in Verkes's car and then later buried in nearby bushland. The explosives make it impossible to dismiss the proposition that what was uncovered was a terrorist arsenal and what was averted was a national tragedy. Max Bebic's story is the explosives were stolen by Verkes. He claimed he was tricked into believing they were to be used for mining opal.
You've now served your sentence. What was true about the charges brought against you?
Only true what's I've been with Verkes. That's true. I apply guilty with this and.
So you admit your guilt as far as being with Verkes when you say Verkes stole the explosives. Yes. But what was true about the rest of it? About the conspiracy to bomb those targets?
Nothing have true there. Nothing true. That's all lies. Propaganda.
While there has to be doubt about what the explosives were to be used for, there would have to be equal doubt that at least some of the evidence wasn't fabricated by at least some of the police.
In police minds, you would never get hardened criminals to admit anything. They had to be assisted to tell the truth. And there was often a confidence that the people arrested were, in the police vernacular, right for it, so their actions were entirely justified. As one policeman put it, it was all a matter of playing A grade. You assigned the toughest police and used the toughest methods to deal with the toughest problems. The tough problem in this case was the one of quietening the troublesome Croatians, and in this respect at least, they were entirely successful.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth but our home is good by sea.
In the minds of many Australians, the reputation of the Croatian community was severely damaged. And in the minds of many Croatians, what was also damaged was the reputation of Australia as a just and free society.
I come from totalitarian system, and I know if you demonstrate anything there in totalitarian system, you are going in the jail. But I was sure, and it's I think this is the more free country. And I was very surprised and I was just shocked on one way when these things happened to me, when we were arrested and just for no crime, for nothing, just for the legal demonstration, and we are sentenced 15 years jail. I was shocked.
All 6 convicted men have now served their sentences. Only 4 would agree to talk to Four Corners. Every one of them was noticeably battered by the experience. For Mili Nekic, there was the small comfort of discovering a new talent during his 10 years in jail. Beyond that, for Nekic and the others, there is bitterness and bewilderment. Ironically, now that the men are liberated, so too is the country that inspired their struggle. But their peace, or rather peace of mind, is no more secure than the peace in Croatia. In the Zagreb town square, the Croatian ceremonial soldiers offer the population the brief comfort of a vision from the past to guard against the bleak prospect of a bloody future. In Australia, we have ceremonies of our own. And in their own way, they too disguise an uncomfortable reality. There seems to be a quiet rule in the legal community that, above all, we must maintain our faith in the justice system. The Croatian Six affair is not the only costly and lengthy legal trial that raises doubt about whether the system is always deserving of that faith. However mighty is the wisdom of our courts, too often we've seen it overwhelmed by the cunning of our police.
Chris Masters reopening a case that the legal system might well have liked to have seen stay closed. Thanks for your company tonight and over the last 30 years. Next week we report on the Soviet Union, which, like Four Corners, has changed just a bit in the last 3 decades. Good night.